Are you a new rider who enjoys heading out on the back roads but feels intimidated by the thought of duking it out with traffic on the freeway? Perhaps you're uncomfortable traveling at freeway speeds and worried about how you'll respond to all of the traffic around you. If you're wondering if you're ready for the freeway and how to best approach your first run on the interstate without getting flattened, this video is for you. I'll start by saying that it's perfectly normal, in fact healthy, to be nervous about riding on the freeway for the first time. You'll probably be traveling a lot faster than you're used to, and the cars around you will be traveling faster still, and with absolutely no regard for your life or safety. I know that some will say that the freeway is safer than the street since all of the cars are going in the same direction. The danger comes in, however, because there's a lot of speed and things can happen very quickly. There's little time to react, and you can't slow down to catch your wits. With this video, I'm going to help you to get up to speed so you're ready for the freeway, and then give you some important tips for helping you survive life in the fast lane. Before we get into the business, I'll point out the obvious. Not all freeways are the same. If you're out in rural areas, your experience of jumping on the interstate is going to be much different from someone trying to navigate 5 lanes of hell-bent traffic in Los Angeles. While everything I'll share here applies equally to lonelier interstates out in the country, the knowledge in this video is especially critical for surviving on the crazy and fast freeways cutting through the big cities. Okay, with that out of the way, let's talk about preparing for your initial freeway ride. The first thing you can do is to get as comfortable as you can riding at freeway speeds. Keep in mind that though the speed limit may be 65 or even 55 in the city, few motorists actually like to drive the speed limit. Not only do many go much faster, they get angry at those who drive at or below the actual speed limit. This may not be a big deal if you're in an oversized RV or truck, but when you're the smallest vehicle on the road, other drivers don't mind veering aggressively in your direction to announce their displeasure with you. The bottom line is that you want to be comfortable riding at actual freeway speeds, not just the speed limit. To do this, you want to find a longer section of road or highway where you can get the bike up to speed. Practice accelerating the bike, holding it at speed, and then applying the brakes. At first, traveling 55 miles per hour may seem blindingly fast. It was for me. The first time I got up over 55, I remember pulling over to let traffic pass me by on the highway. The only way to get comfortable, though, is through practice. I realize that if you're in a big city, it may be difficult to find an open roadway where you can ride fast. Traffic is usually an issue, too. Your best bet is to head out early on a Saturday or Sunday morning, right after sunrise if you have to, so that you can have the roads to yourself and have some space to open up the throttle. You can also head out of the city and take to the open highways out in the country or the desert. The more comfortable you are with the bike when the wind is rushing past you like mad, the easier it will be for you to survive on the freeway when the time comes. You don't want your first time hitting freeway speeds to be your first time on the freeway. That's just a recipe for being overwhelmed and prone to making mistakes. There's no magic formula here for preparing for the freeway other than to practice riding at speed. So get out there and practice, practice, practice. Once you feel like you're more or less ready, you'll want to again pick an early Sunday morning when there's no traffic. The less traffic, the less there is to distract you, and the easier it will be to adapt to the new situation. Here's some tips for your first ride out on the tarmac. Don't go out at night, no matter how quiet you may think it will be. Lack of visibility is just another variable that you don't want to deal with when you're starting out. You will get pushed around by the wind from semis and other cars, but that's normal and it won't affect you. You'll get used to the force of the wind soon enough. For more information on this, check out my video on riding in the wind for some help in that department. Be prepared to go fast, at least the speed of the cars around you. You don't want to slow traffic down and risk getting rear-ended or cut off by other traffic. Your bike can comfortably handle freeway speeds. Just because you may be nervous, that doesn't mean your bike is. Your bike can actually handle a lot more speed than you may be able to throw at it right now. In the beginning, stay off the freeway at rush hour or when it's busy. Stick to times when traffic is either light or flowing at normal speeds. Finally, the more you ride on the freeway, the easier it gets. Once you're out on the freeway and you got the bike up to speed, here's where the business starts. The most important skill you can practice is to improve your situational awareness. The more aware of everything going on around you and can predict what might happen, the greater your situational awareness and the more safe you'll keep yourself. I've seen and heard of so many accidents on the freeway that were technically the other guy's fault, but they could have been prevented by greater situational awareness on the part of the motorcyclist. Here are the basics of good situational awareness. First, know who and what is around you. Is there a car in your blind spot? Is a car quickly coming up behind you? Is that car that's merging onto the freeway soon going to occupy your lane? Next, be aware of what the freeway is doing ahead. Is there an on-ramp about to come up? Is a lane ending? People tend to react predictably in response to given conditions. If you see a freeway off-ramp ahead, you can assume that drivers will be exiting and then plan accordingly. It's your job to predict what might happen given the conditions of traffic in the roadway. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong if you're being taken off the freeway in an ambulance or coroner's vehicle. It's better to be safe than legally in the right. Always consider the what ifs. What if this car changes in lanes in front of me? What if the driver behind me doesn't see me when I'm braking? What if there's debris in the roadway? The chances of something happening may be small, but when the consequences of that event are serious, we need to plan for it. Always have an exit strategy ready in case something goes wrong. If that car does change lanes into you, what are you going to do? Take precautions to keep yourself safe. It may sound obvious, but the whole point of situational awareness is to take action to protect yourself. If it sounds like riding the freeway takes work, it does. You need to be constantly on your guard no matter how experienced a rider you become. Regardless of whether your attention sticks around, risks never go away. Let's discuss a couple of typical situations you'll face. Let's say you're in the right lane and there's an exit coming up. You're aware that there's a car 2 lanes to your left. Ask yourself, what if the driver realizes at the last minute that this is their exit coming up and swerves across the freeway to take it? Will they take you out? Another common scenario is that you're in one lane, but the lane next to you is slowing down and traffic is backing up. What if the driver next to you decides to bypass the slower cars by changing into your lanes? How will you respond? In both these situations, situational awareness is paramount. Not only should you be aware of what's going on in front of you, but you'll want to consider what's going on behind you and to either side of you. If the traffic is slowing down to your right, make sure you have an exit open to the left and cheat the bike to the left side of the lane so you have more time to react if a car does swerve in front of you. It's a lot to process in a quick period of time, so be sure to practice your situational awareness even when there's light traffic. The more you do it, the easier it gets. We've covered the basics. Let's dig into some do's and don'ts to help you stay safe on the freeway. Do always have an exit mapped out. If someone changes lanes into yours, where will you go? More than anything else, having an exit planned and being able and ready to quickly access it are your keys to staying alive on the freeway. Don't let yourself get boxed in. Avoid situations where you have cars on both sides of you. When you're boxed in, you lose your exit. Do look for gaps in traffic and ride there. The less traffic around you, the fewer chances for an accident. Do scan the road far ahead of you, not just immediately in front of you. Don't get stuck in the habit of looking at the car in front of you. Look past it so you can anticipate what's coming up long before it's in your face. Do use your turn signals. When you use your turn signals, not only do you let people know what you're doing, but you're being polite. The more polite you are to the people behind you, the more polite they'll be to you when they're in front of you. Don't ride alongside semi-trucks. You know all those tire treads you see strewn along the highway? That's from truck tires blowing out. If you're next to a truck when one of its tires blow out, the explosion will send you flying. Not too likely to happen, but if it does, you don't want to be anywhere near there. So stay away as much as you can. Don't ride in a car's blind spot. It's easy for us to fall in the habit of riding in a car's blind spot because we can easily see the vehicle right there in front of us. The driver, however, doesn't know what's going on and can't see us because we're so small. It's confusing to the driver and dangerous to us. Either slow down or speed up, but don't sit in the blind spot. Do use your mirrors. From time to time, check to see what's going on behind you. There's nothing worse than thinking you have an exit lane open to the side of you, and then a fast-moving car comes up and catches you unaware. Do turn your head to check for traffic before changing lanes. Checking your mirrors is not enough. Always confirm that the lane next to you is empty before you enter it. Don't tailgate. Not only can you not stop as fast as you think you can, but if there's debris in the road, you'll need time to respond. A long time ago, I worked for an insurance company handling claims. I'll never forget the couple on a bike who hit a roll of carpet that fell off the back of a truck. Sadly, they both died. A little more distance and helmets, and they might still be riding today. You may not like the fact that the knucklehead in front of you is driving slowly, but be patient. Stay back until you can safely pass. Change lanes to avoid following pickups whenever possible. If you find yourself stuck behind one, be sure to back off and give it extra room. It's too easy for the wind to kick something out from the bed of the pickup and toss it out on the roadway in front of you. Whether it's a beer can or a lawn chair, you don't want it coming at you. Speed can be your friend. When you're getting started, you may be intimidated by the speed. I know I was, but speed is often a valid way to get yourself out of potentially dangerous situations. If you don't like what's in front of you, then get in front of it. Also, when you're the fastest vehicle on the road, you're in control of your surroundings. You don't have to worry so much about getting rear-ended or cut off by passing vehicles. I'm not saying that you should fly down the freeway at unsafe speeds, but there are sometimes advantages to keeping the throttle up. The easiest lane to go fast in is, of course, the fast lane. It's my preferred lane, not just because I get to go fast, but because there's no one to my left to cut me off. And I always have a shoulder to escape to when I need it. And yeah, I've had to use it. The fast lane may seem intimidating at first, but once you get comfortable with the pace, it's actually the least attention demanding lane to ride in. I do all of my freeway riding in the fast lane, unless I'm passing or exiting. Do look behind you when traffic slows down. Getting rear-ended in a car sucks, but getting rear-ended on a bike can be life-threatening. When traffic starts to slow down, look in your rear view to see what's coming up behind you and how they're responding. Are they slowing down or maintaining their speed? Tap your rear brake to flash your brake lights. Have that exit prepared. Line up to one side of the lane so you can quickly get out of the way if the driver behind you doesn't see that traffic has slowed or stopped. Situational awareness means that you're prepared for both what's going on in front of you and behind you. When I'm passing a car or see a car moving in my direction, I'll angle my bike and shift my weight so that I'm moving away from that car. That way, if the driver decides he deserves my lane more than I do, I'm already moving away from their car and can easily take evasive action. Don't wait until bad things happen to prepare. When you're passing a car, do give the car room in case it changes lanes. Imagine you're coming up behind a car. The driver may see you approaching and then change lanes to let you pass. If you've already begun the pass and are now inches away from his door as he's moving over, he won't have time to react and he could take you out. Once you get more confident, you may think you're the tough guy by skimming right by the other driver to show your displeasure at their slow speed. Just remember that you will always lose if you go up against even the smallest car. Do use your brakes to slow and stop so that you'll activate your brake lights. If you rely heavily on downshifting without using your brakes, the driver behind you is unlikely to realize that you're slowing down, and you're much more likely to get rear-ended. Do take special care around freeway off-ramps that exit from the left side of the freeway. Drivers often don't realize that they're on the wrong side of the freeway from their exit, so at the last minute, they'll cross multiple lanes to catch their exit. If you're in their way, down you'll go. Always make sure that there are no cars in a position to take you out as you pass freeway off-ramps. Don't get mad at drivers that don't see you. It happens. Breaking off side view mirrors or flipping people off isn't going to change anything other than making life worse for the next rider to get in their line of sight. If you're going to fly down the freeway at fighter plane speeds, don't do it when there's traffic around you. If your survival plan is to expect that traffic around you will see you and react responsibly, you won't be alive for long. Not long before I taped this, a rider in the area died on the freeway as he was traveling at about 140 miles per hour and a car changed lanes in front of him. As sad as situations like this are, they're 100% avoidable. Please don't let this happen to you. Do wear riding gear. It goes without saying that you should wear a helmet, but also a proper jacket, gloves, and pants with protection can make the difference between a spill that you get up and walk away from and one where you get carted off to the hospital. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot to think about as you're heading through traffic on the freeway. It's definitely no picnic. Though it may be difficult in the beginning, practice the specific tips and techniques that I laid out until they become second nature. Once they become habits, you won't have to spend so much time thinking about them. If you are heading out onto the freeway for the first time, I suggest you watch this video again and take some notes. That way, when you're actually out on the freeway, things I talked about will come to you much more easily. So that's it. As always, stay safe and enjoy the ride.